David Hertel in for Aaron and Natasha. Well, the federal government has decided that starting in September, Canada will no longer be able to have dogs from other countries come to this country. And so a lot of animal rights advocates are fuming over this decision. One of them is joining us today. She's Kim DESAUTELS, the co-founder of Rescue All Dogs. Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're really busy, but we're doing good.
So,
Hanging in there.
So what's the situation? I mean, what's the situation right now? I mean, basically, if you rescue a dog from another country, you can bring him in without any type of restrictions or conditions? What's the regime right now as it stands?
So basically what it has been is if you import a dog, depending from which country, all you would need is a rabies certificate and a microchip in the dog. Mm-hmm. And last year there was a ban in the USA where they did the ban that Canada is now about to do, but they have lifted this ban since because it just wasn't working.
Okay.
But Canada decided to follow what the USA did, and so they are putting a full ban on dogs coming from over 100 countries, I believe, that are not allowed in Canada anymore.
So I understand that this is because apparently some dogs were imported in Canada and they had rabies in 2021. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there were two dogs. I believe, from my understanding, there were two dogs. One of them was 3 months old, so they were probably from, puppy brokers and puppy mills from Iran, I believe they came from. And they had rabies. So it's unfortunate. It's definitely not the kind of work that we do. Mm-hmm. But there are many, we call them puppy brokers, which they'll get puppies from puppy mills and then sell them on Kijiji, and they will say they were bred in Canada, which they weren't. And so because of that, now we all have to pay for that, which is devastating for us.
Definitely. Look, I'll come out right away and say I'm a dog person. So I'm biased. I'm totally biased. So, but the idea here, explain to me why this is such a horrible decision. I mean, how many dogs do we rescue or bring in every year in Canada? Do you know?
Thousands, I'm sure. I mean, I can't, us, we brought in from 80 to 90 dogs last year alone from Lebanon. Wow. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there's thousands. And ever since the USA put the ban, the dogs were all rerouted to Canada.
On top of that.
So there was definitely more last year that came in. But, I mean, these countries, I contacted the CFIA and I asked them, how do you, where's the data? Like, where's the proof that these countries are high rabies countries? Mm-hmm. And they didn't have an answer for me. They just said, we're just basing it on the USA. Okay. Because right now in Canada, there's zero cases of a dog with rabies.
Speaking with Kim DESAUTELS, the co-founder of Rescue All Dogs, about the Canadian ban on international dogs from over 100 countries. So, Kim, the counter argument would be, well, this is a health situation. I mean, why do all the dogs that are going through a difficult situation around the world have to end up in Canada? I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah, for sure. They don't just end up in Canada. Like, now they're going back to the States as well. And there's other countries in Europe and other places as well where they do go. But, Canada, like, Canadians love adopting. And I love that about Canada. They're all about second chances. And these dogs are great dogs. Like, the dogs that we do get, they're not strays. They were people's pets that were dumped on the streets, on highways. And, I can't even tell you the amount of golden retrievers that we have. And we have all these purebred, amazing dogs. And they're quite young and they just won't have a chance anymore. So We do rescue locally as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we help the SPCA and other shelters, you know, taking dogs from them. But it's also important to help these countries where the adoption rate is 0%. And the rescuers out there, I mean, they're trying their best to save these dogs, to give them a second chance at a life and bring them into loving families.
So I watched the report on CTV. I think you have a really nice story about one of those dogs, right?
Yeah, we have nice
Fatouche.
stories about many of our dogs. Fatouche, yeah.
Fatouche. Tell me about Fatouche.
So Fatouche was, he was tied up to a tree, and the rescuers found him. He was there for days, and he was just the sweetest boy, and he was brought in to the shelter because we're partners with Beta Lebanon in Lebanon, so they do have a shelter, and he was in the shelter for 4 or 5 years. And we just decided to pull him out of there and get him over here to have, you know, for him to have a life with a family. And he does now. He's a happy boy.
So you work with organizations in other countries, like, for example, in Lebanon, right? And so,
yeah.
So how do we make sure, what's the process, for example, for your organization, Rescue All Dogs, to make sure that a dog that's coming to Canada doesn't have rabies or any other disease that could be transmissible and could be harmful for the population here?
Yeah, and this is what I wish the CFIA would do, is not just put a blanket ban, because it's not a right way. You know, they should put stricter regulations and just like be more diligent and have stricter like laws to import dogs, because I'm all for that. But for our dogs, you know, we don't just take a dog from the streets and then bring them in the shelter and then that's it. You know, our dogs go through quarantine at like one section of the shelter. Some of these dogs have been at the shelter for years, so they get their vaccines every year. You know, rabies is 100% preventable with vaccines, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we test them all. Like, we have a whole sheet of vetting that we do with the vets out there in Lebanon. So they test for all diseases. We do a full blood panel. We do x-rays. We do, like, name it, we do it, you know. Once they're in Canada, we'll quarantine them again in Canada, and we will bring them to the vet in Canada as well. So we're quite strict on how we do things. But I do believe that importers, you know, they definitely need to be more diligent and transparent. And many rescues do it the way we do it, and they go above and beyond for vetting. But if a dog looks sick in any kind of way, we will never bring it here, ever. Okay.
And what's the situation right now? Like, how many dogs do you have up for adoption right now?
So right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to raise funds because we're trying to bring about 25 dogs before the ban. So we have 25 dogs, which was really hard to choose because we have over 900 dogs at the shelter in Lebanon.
Wow.
So we have 25 dogs, and we have flight volunteers that are willing, you know, to go and get the dogs, and to bring them over, you know, to have a second chance. But after that, I mean, I don't know. This is truly a death certificate to thousands and thousands of dogs.
And is there some sort of effort with other organizations, Kim? Is something being done to try to lobby the federal government to change its mind on this?
Yeah, so Animal Justice is getting involved, and we also have the SPCA that's also getting involved. There's petitions to sign, and we're all trying our best to, you know, have the CFIA maybe not change their mind, but just change their regulations, just put in more strict regulations, you know. We don't bring in dogs that are younger than 8 months. I have no idea how these 3-month-old dogs are, but once again, puppy brokers. So, you know, there's a bunch of things that could be done right, and like a ban is just not the way to go.
Well, Kim, I'm going to wish you good luck on your efforts, and thank you for the great work you're doing, and thank you for coming on this afternoon.
Thank you so much.